guys. Hi guys. If I sound completely out of it in this video, it's because I tried to record this 3 times, but my mind is just everywhere, and I would write it down, but if I write it down, the paper's gonna be this close to my face. So I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head, and I recorded this 3 times, so there may be some parts where I jump over and come back because I felt like I already said it, but I didn't realize I said it in this video or this recording, but it was the other recording that I said it in. So I'm sorry about that. And just a little disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I am not an eye clinic. I have no medical eye training. I have no medical eye anything. I'm just a patient. And this is all my experience and what I know, and a lot of these things I've read online, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head since I record with my iPhone, and this information is on my iPhone, and I don't think there's a way where I could record and look at my iPhone at the same time. So I would try to post a link or some of what I'm talking about over here. As I read, so you can read along, hopefully that will help you. But yeah, so I was born with a condition called ANIRIDIA. ANIRIDIA is a condition where your eyes are not fully developed. Your eyes, you don't have a cornea. You don't have much of a color to your eyes. You know how people have brown, blue, or hazel? I don't have that. And when when my parents realized I had something wrong, I was about 3 or 4 months years old. They noticed that my eyes wasn't as developed as my brother or my other cousins who are born only a few months ahead of me. They realized that I wasn't focusing on things as my brothers or my cousins and other ones were. So they took me to the eye doctor, and I had many tests done, and I had many exams and many lights in my eyes, and the doctors came to a conclusion that I have ANIRIDIA. And at the time, I was completely, totally blind. I couldn't see anything. But eventually, over the months and years, I started to see, to a point where I am independent, where I don't need a cane, where I didn't need a cane, I didn't need assistance, I didn't need any of that. I was able to see and walk through the door. I was able to, without hitting it, I was able to see, to walk down the street to the corner store by myself. I was able to get on the MBTA, get on trains and buses, and walk to school in high school. Because when I was younger, I took a bus which came to my front door. But once I reached high school, I started taking the MBTA, public transportation, to school on my own. And I was able to go to my doctor's appointments on my own and go shopping on my own. And eventually I was able to do all of those and ride my bike around the block, walk to my grandma's house by myself, and all of that type of things. But I still had ANIRIDIA. So I would try to find a picture of what it was like for me to see, or what is kind of like me to see out of my right eye, because in my right eye I haven't had no big surgery. And what I'll be looking for is the vision in my right eye as of now. It might have been a little bit better when I was younger. It might have not been. It's hard to compare it, because since now that I have my K-Pro, everything looks completely different. I wasn't on no medication. I had no surgery. My vision just appeared on its own, and I thank God for that. It wasn't until I was maybe 7 or 8 years old where I had to start taking medication, or eye drops, I should say. It wasn't oral medication, it was an eye drop. And it was an eye drop called Timolol, which there's very different variations of it. But at the time, I was taking the one that has a yellow cap, a white bottle. Let me see. Right here is my bag full of eye drops. So I was taking a Timolol. This is also Timolol, but it's a different variation. And the one I was taking when I was about 7, 8, started taking when I was about 7, 8, was this, but it had a yellow cap, not a blue cap, but a yellow cap. So I was taking that for many years, and the reason I started taking that is because they noticed my glaucoma was starting to come in, because that's another thing with ANIRIDIA. You get glaucoma, you have cataracts, and you start to have those things at a very young age. So my glaucoma started to come in, and my pressure started to rise slowly. So for me, most of my time, my pressure was like a 15, which to someone normal, that would have been high compared to me, which was kind of normal. So it was steady at a 15, 16 for many, many years with that medication. And I would have, it came to a point where I was taking it from 7, 8 years old till 2005, where I was about 17 years old. So I was taking that for maybe about 9, 10 years. For 9, 10 years. And I had a variation dosage over the years. I went from 1 time a day to 2 times a day, and at one point even 3 times a day. And then it wasn't until I got an infection where that changed, or my glaucoma changed, and my glaucoma changed. That made no sense right now. But glaucoma changed and it started to increase, and my doctor changed at that time too, and they put me on another variation, which I don't have at the moment, but it looks very similar to this. Very similar, same bottle looking, same cap color, but it's called Cosa. It has timolol within it with other ingredients. So I started taking that, and that was working for a while. And at that point, my glaucoma was about between the 18 and 22. So my glaucoma varied between 18 and 22 for many years from then. But it wasn't until 2010 where they switched it and put me on this one, which I'm currently on, which I currently got back on, I should say, which is Dorzol. Let's see. I have the box right here, but let's not show you my address. So that's that's what I'm currently taking. I started having to take that yesterday, actually. I had to get back on that yesterday. I was off it for maybe 6 months, but we get to that point later in this video. In 2005, July 2005, I got an infection in my left eye. My doctor explained it kind of like a herpes. She says every 90% of people has the virus within them, but mine just decided to flare up, and it's something where bacteria, shared bacteria. So you could have it, you may have it, you may not have it. It's not curable, but it could be controlled, which it has been. I only had one flare up, knock on wood. And it's very, well, for me, it was extremely painful. And what came to for me to realize that I had it was I was at work. I was working at a day camp at the time. And every morning, my eyes would be really runny and goopy and just felt weird for the first hour or two that I woke up. And it wasn't until maybe a week after that where it was just painful, and I couldn't take it no more. And I went to work, but I ended up having to leave work. Not because it's contagious, because it's not contagious, but because I was just in so much discomfort. So my eye doctor at that time gave me an eye drop, which I had to take 6 or 7 times. It was like every 2 to 3 hours that I had to take it. And at the same time, I also had a family vacation that my family was going. So of course I went. I was quite bored on that vacation because I was in that in-between age where everybody was older than me and everybody was younger than me. And I was the only one of my age. Sorry. So of course the older ones ain't want nothing to do with me, so I got stuck with the younger ones. Go figure. But it was the most boring 2 weeks. But eye-wise, my eye felt great. It felt wonderful. I don't know if it was because of the fresh air, because we went to Belize, so I don't know if it was the fresh air that made it feel so good and whatnot. But when we came back, that's when everything kind of started up again, because I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe it was because of the air in the plane, how it's decreased, that made it flare up again. And it was a Friday night. We got back on a Friday night, and when I woke up that Saturday morning, my eye was swole like a golf ball. And of course, I went to the emergency room. I was there for hours because it's the emergency room. I finally seen the doctor. They said that I had a flare up, and they put some ointment on my eye, and I had an appointment to see my doctor that Monday. That Monday I went in. The next day, the swelling went down. Everything felt fine. That Monday, I see my doctor. She referred me to a specialist, which is one of the best doctors I had. Shout out to you. She and the doctors I had up to that time didn't explain to the condition, the infection I had. It wasn't until I went to the specialist where she explained everything to me. She helped me understand everything, basically. She told me that yes, the eye drops is working, but it's better to do it internally. So she gave me a pill, which I don't have with me, called acyclovir. Sorry, it just zoned out. I cannot think of it. Acyclovir. When I googled it, they say it is a medicine usually taken by people that do have herpes. But since my infection and herpes are similar, can't talk similar, but it's the same, but it's not the same. I can't explain it really the way she explained it to me. That will help. And knock on wood, since I've been on that, I have had no type of flare-ups. She then put me on COSAP because my pressure started to rise a little bit more. I went from a 22 to a 25. She put me on COSAP. I was on COSAP for maybe a year or two. Then she switched me to Durezol, which is this one, which is basically the same thing, lacking maybe 1 or 2 ingredients. And I was stable for the next 3-4 years, and everything was stable for the next 3-4 years. My left eye started to be the good eye, but since the infection, it became the worst eye. My right eye was the best eye. So a lot of times when I was look at something, for example, my bus pass, I would be like this compared to like this. So I was using my right eye more than my left eye. What else? My pressure eventually started to go really high, like really high. Like my pressure at one point was 35, 40. Consistently. It wasn't like 35 today and then it go back down to 20. It was like a consistent. So she put me back on COSAP and added a eye drop called latanoprost. But with COSAP, my body changed from not being on it for so long, that my body changed, and to one of the ingredients in it, my body decided to reject it and didn't like it and have a reaction. So she put me back on Durezol, and I've been on Durezol since, off and on. And I've been on latanoprost for off and on. And For a little while that helped, but early 2014 my pressure just went sky high. My pressure was in its 40s, like 40, 45, and that's when my doctor referred me to another specialist who is known for doing a procedure called I call it the K-Pro. I cannot pronounce the actual name. It will be somewhere on the screen. So I seen her. She decided to have me come in another day to see the other two doctors she works with. And on that day, I was at the eye doctor from 8 a.m. to about 5:30 p.m. It was one long day. And then I seen them and they concluded that I might work out best with the K-Pro. But my pressure, my left eye was still too high, so the glaucoma specialist, I'm sorry if the light go in and out. I'm not only using my Dynavine light, there's also a lot of natural light coming in and out. That's a little side note. Should have said that in the beginning, but hey. The glaucoma specialist that I was seeing or was going to be a part of it decided to do a LASIK procedure to help bring my pressure down before they even go in and do the full surgery. So that was in June of 2014. So July, I got the news that I was going to have a K-Pro and I was going to have it August 14th, 2014. So of course, there's those multiple visits to the doctors before you have the surgery, those pre-visits. So August 2014, I go in 6 o'clock. My surgery was for 7:30. They say normally the procedure that I had, the particular procedure I had is about a 3-hour surgery, but for me, it ended up being a 5-hour surgery. So I was under anesthesia from 7:30 to about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then it took me another hour or two to wake up from the anesthesia. Surgery-wise, and when I woke up, of course, I was out of it. I peed on myself, but I also still needed to pee. And because I was still heavily on anesthesia, they wouldn't let me go to the bathroom, so they put a bucket under me, them little pins thingies, so I could use. But I don't know if it was because the past 25 years, at the time I was 27, so for the past 25 years, I was 26, so the past 24 years, I was just used to peeing on the toilet normally, or what, but I could not use the bathroom in that pail. So eventually, and all I kept saying, I need to use the bathroom. I need to use the bathroom. So eventually they took me. And pain-wise, I didn't feel no pain. Like, the most pain I had was like a headache. And that wasn't even all the time. They gave me those really strong oxycodone. I didn't take any of it. I took one. I took one and I felt horrible. Like, I felt worse taking it than I did before I took it. So I didn't take no more. I took Tylenol and that worked just perfectly. So anytime I had a headache, I would just take a Tylenol instead of that high dose of a pain medicine, which just felt awful. I felt like I need to throw up, honestly. So 2 years later, here I am. I've been stable. My vision has been stable. in my left eye. In my right eye, my vision is stable, but my glaucoma and my pressure has been going up and down. I did eventually, soon after I had my capo done, I did have a LASIK done on my right eye, maybe about 2 weeks later. Maybe 2-3 weeks later after I had my capo, I had a LASIK done on my right eye to help my pressure, and that worked for about a year and a half, 2 years, maybe a little bit longer. And then my pressure started to rise again, so they did it again. June of this past year, just past June 2016, and it's been stable. I had a recent eye appointment and my pressure was 45. I know, that's a really high number. So after my surgery, after my LASIK procedure, they took me off of latanoprost and Dorazol and had put me on Trusop, which is another form of timolol, which is this. Let's see. I'm not sure you're gonna see the name too well, but it's basically another version of timolol with an orange cap. So that was working for a little while, but I guess it's not strong enough, and my eye decided to go back to 45 pressure wise. So as of yesterday, they put me back on the Dorazol, which I showed you, and latanoprost, which I have to go to the the pharmacy to go pick up. What else? In my left eye currently, I take 2 eye drops. The pronunciation of them is a good question, and where are they? And let's see if I can. Now that I have a capo, I can see a 20/80 compared to my right eye, which is a 2200. And as I said earlier, I think I would try to put photos of what I see in my right eye compared to what I see in my left eye. But this is what I take in my right eye. I'm trying to pronounce it, but I'm trying to get it so you can see. Come on, you could do it. You could do it. That's one. I take this twice a day, and then I take this, which is an antibiotic, once a day. Let's see if this is gonna work. So I take that once a day, and then let me see what time I'm at. Maybe 25, almost half an hour. Oh snap, y'all gonna get a long video today, cause I don't think I'm gonna edit this much. So yeah, so as of now, my left eye is stable, very stable. My procedures has went very well. I was gonna say I haven't had no other procedure done to my eye, but I lied. Last March, I had the tube. There's also a tube in my eye, which was on this side of my eye, but because I blink and my stigmatism, which also when my eye moves back and forth really fast, it started to show a tiny bit. So to prevent any infections or anything, my glaucoma doctor decided to go back in and move it from this side of my eye to somewhere on this side of my eye where it's not as visible or not as easy to be seen from the eye, or won't show as much So other than that procedure, which happened back in March, which was like a year and a half after I had my K-Pro, that's the only other thing that I have done. The lady that did my K-Pro, the doctor that actually did the K-Pro, sadly she relocated to Chicago. If I could find her information, maybe I try to link it below, but I'm not too sure if she's seeing patients or if she's doing more of a research side. That part I'm not too sure. What else? And I'll let this be part 1 of 2, and part 2 will be what I went through and how I live and what I'm going through. Maybe I'll make it part 1 of 3. Yeah, I'll make it part 1 of 3. So this part is what I have, what I've gone through. Part 2 is how I lived, i.e. the way I was in school and growing up and how I live life now. And part 3 is from K-Pro to now. And I will try to make a playlist for that. And I thank you so much for watching. And I'm sorry that this has been a very long video. I just wanted to try to remember everything that I can and try to give you as much information as I know. I will put a link down to a website that I go and refer from time to time to try to get any information. I will try to put it here also as I finish this outro. I thank you for watching, and I hope you got a glimpse or an idea of what ANIRIDIA is. If you have any questions, please leave them below, and I will be gladly to answer it to the best of my knowledge. And yeah, on a side note though, I got my I can't think of the name of it. The thingy you put the phone on. The one I guys told you that broke. I got a new one. So hopefully this will help me bring out more videos out to you guys. And I love you for watching, and I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you very, very soon. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. I love you all for watching. Side note, these are some close-ups of what my eyes look like as of. I do not have a K-Pro, and this is what my aniridic eye looks like. And as you can see, if you really look at it, it moves on its own. And this is my eye with the K-Pro. As you can see, it looks completely different. And let's open it up because my eyes are little. And that's what the K-Pro looks like. So I just opened up the sauce. As you can see, I poured out most of the water. There's a little bit in there. And we just gonna pour this bad boy in. So kinda, I'm scared.